As Nancy and I were getting more and more serious about discussing our future, we decided to set aside 30 days. The first 3 weeks of that 30 days, we fasted and prayed.
And I said to Robert, I've never made a major decision in my life without some extended time of prayer and fasting. I wouldn't decide to write a new book without some extended time of seeking the Lord. And this was a hugely important decision. So we set aside those weeks, and something that happened during that fast that was unexpected to me. It wasn't so much that I got this amazing or clear word from the Lord during that time, but I saw something in Robert that was hugely significant to me. He went way further than I did in maximizing that 3-week opportunity to seek the Lord. And he would take the noon hour every day, when he would normally have been taking lunch hour. He would go to what he called the throne, place in his home, and would take that hour with his Bible, his hymnal, his journal, and kneel before the Lord and pray about this relationship.
Right in the middle of that was Palm Sunday. So I went to church, and I can't even describe what was happening to me, but I was panicked. And I'm thinking, what is the matter with you? So I got home about noon, went to the throne, knelt down at the little couch, got my journal out. And John chapter 21, it was like it jumped off the page. And Jesus and Peter are talking. And Jesus says to Peter, "Do you love me more than these?" I'm looking at that passage, and I realized what I had done. I realized what the panic was, that Nancy DeMoss was on the throne. And if Jesus had said to me, "Do you love me more than Nancy?" I would have said, "She's on the throne." And as I prayed about it in that moment, I didn't decide on a mid-course correction. I confessed it as sin. Anything that I put on the throne becomes an idol, and that's idol worship, and that's sin. And to protect Nancy, I can't afford to have her in that kind of position in my life. I can't ask her to make me happy. I can't ask her to fulfill me. Only Jesus can do that. And so now I had to talk to Nancy. I confessed that I had sinned and that I loved her more than Jesus. I said, "Nancy, for the rest of my life, this will be a marker day that only Jesus deserves that place on the throne."
And I would see him at times come out of that time with tears of repentance as he would tell me something God had shown him. And he was saying, "Yes, Lord." I'm going, a man who can change his mind in the presence of the Lord, a man who can confess sin in the presence of the Lord, and a man who can come out from that time seeking the Lord and say, "Here's what I believe God's been showing me about this or this or this." And I was watching this, and I was saying, here is a man who knows God, who wants to know him better, who loves him. And his example was creating in me a greater hunger and thirst to know God in a deeper, richer, more intimate way than I've ever known him. And I was saying, this is the kind of man I could trust